Could you please tell us who you are and why you are in Romania?
My name is Joan Marc Simon, and I'm the director of Zero Waste Europe. Zero Waste Europe is a network of local groups around Europe. We are in around 15 countries right now, implementing zero waste solutions. And I came to Romania because Romania is one of the countries in the network that is pushing for zero waste, and we are trying to implement zero waste solutions also here.
What is zero waste? In a few sentences.
In a few sentences, zero waste is the alternative to a throwaway society. We live in a society that is completely linear, and we want to build a society that is a circular economy, it's a circular society, but that takes people into account. Today in Europe, there's lots of talking about circular economy, about sustainability, and our point is, yes, it's important to have a circular economy, it's important to close the loop, to get to 100% recycling, but as important as that is to make this loop smaller, because we have less and less materials, less and less resources, and we have to share them, and to make sure that whatever we do in the economy, that is useful for the people. We find today that there's lots of inventions that are really not useful for the people, and it's important that we build an economy that is sustainable. And zero waste closes the loop by turning waste into an input for productive cycles and at the same time generating employment. So it's zero waste, it's about stop wasting resources and stop wasting people. And in Europe today, we are wasting too many resources, and with the unemployment rates that we have, we can say that we are wasting people. So zero waste is about ending with wasting these two resources.
Could you tell us more in detail how zero waste works in practice? Concretely, what does it mean?
Well, zero waste means people, citizens really taking control on the future. In a sense that what we do is work with citizens that try to organize local solutions to manage the waste locally so that it creates jobs, that we separate waste, that we have reuse centers, that we redesign products, and give this feedback to companies, give this feedback to municipalities, give this feedback to policymakers in order to make sure that we have the right laws, that we have the right products, that we have the right collection in order to be able to close this loop. And what we do in Zero Waste is that really try to help communities to regain control on the management of resources.
Today you had a meeting with mayors and other officials in Cluj. What's your feeling about their attitude towards waste? They represent the communities, in theory.
I had a very positive feeling, honestly. I was positively surprised about the availability and the interest that they showed in the zero waste practice. I mean, we have to bear in mind that Romania is at the beginning, and it's of if you want, the zero waste strategy, but also is redesigning the waste management system. And what these mayors are doing is very important, because depending on what they decide today, it's going to be the next 20, 30 years strategy. And I think that they are very conscious of the threats of going into like highly capital investments, technology, etc., and also how to build alternatives. So I think they were very receptive, and they were interested in what we were saying, because what we were saying is you're going to get more jobs for your community, you're going to get more sustainability, you're going to get more recycling, and you're not going to in-debt the community, which means that in a selfish way, it means that you have more chances to be re-elected by taking the right decisions and not going for just copying what is happening in Western Europe. And I think that that's a message that went through. I think that Western Europe has done lots of good things. We have done very well in separate collection, in recycling, in reuse, but we also have committed some mistakes in the last 20, 30 years. And what Romania should not do today is commit the same mistakes that Western Europe committed 20 years ago. And well, I think that they were ready to go this way, and we're there to help.
Did you talk about some concrete cases or projects in Romania? Let's say incinerators or so?
We talked a bit about everything. We talked about the importance of separately collecting organics. That is key. And that's one of the lessons that we have learned from Western Europe. If you separate organics, the rest is going to be easier, and it's important that we start from here. In Romania, they also expressed their concern for incineration, and we explained them the experience with Western Europe, where we have zero-waste communities that, thanks to separate collection, to very high recycling rates, made unnecessary incinerators. We are closing down incinerators thanks to separately collecting organics, intensive source separation, and we're finding alternatives. So right now in Europe we have zero-waste communities that implement zero-waste programs that are cheaper, that recycle more, that create more jobs, and the only thing we're saying is well, we have these examples. That is the most modern, advanced waste management in Europe today. Copy the good things, don't copy the bad things.
Tell me something about Zero Waste Europe, your projects, tendencies concerning waste management, your good experiences that you had, bad experiences in certain countries.
Mm-hmm. Well, so far we have had mostly good experiences. I mean, Zero Waste Europe, we are trying to empower communities to implement zero waste strategies, and in this sense, in the last years, we're seeing more and more countries that are joining this line. We have Zero Waste Romania, but we also have Zero Waste Estonia. We're going to get Zero Waste Holland very soon. We had Zero Waste France, who was created at the beginning of this year, and they are going very quickly, on top of Italy and Spain that were there already, and we're going to get very soon Zero Waste Sweden, probably Denmark as well. And on top of that, we have Slovenia, which is, in only 1 year, they have managed to make a fantastic change. I was in Croatia last week. It looks very promising. Zero Waste UK is doing very well. So the network is expanding, and we're having fantastic experiences in places where you would expect it, that they have experience with source separation. But we're seeing also lots of good practices in Eastern Europe. In Slovenia, for example, which joined the European Union only in 2004, we have municipalities that are separately collecting more than 70% of the waste. And we have the commitments. And Eastern and Southern Europe, where there's no incinerators, there's the chance to really advance quickly. And I think that that's where we're doing the most positive and quicker moves. Because here in Romania, it's possible to implement a zero waste strategy in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, because you're not linked to big investments. And there is where we're seeing the big change. But we have fantastic experiences in Gipuzkoa, where we stopped an incineration proposal, we started separately collecting waste, and now more than half of the region is going zero waste with really high separate collection rates, recycling, creating jobs, saving money. The best performing district in Europe, which is Contarina in Italy, northern Italy, is recycling more than 85% of the waste, and is not using incineration for anything. They stopped burning waste, and now they are recovering materials out of this 15% that is left. So we have lots of positive experiences, and what we're doing with Zero Waste Europe is try to make sure that this knowledge, really, this cross-fertilization among the different groups, and it's going well. We bring experiences from one place to the other, and we link the people, we visit experiences that work in a place and another, and this replication is working very well.
What are the tendencies in European policy making concerning waste, incinerators, and so on?
Mm-hmm. Well, at Zero Waste Europe, we are engaged as well in all the lobbying policy making at the European level. And right now, there is the European strategy on resource efficiency, together with the low carbon economy. And it's clear that the European Union is going to go for more recycling. Now they're talking about increasing from 50 to 70% recycling targets, which means that incineration is going to be reduced. At the same time, the European Union is saying that they want to stop with landfilling. By 2030, they want to phase out landfilling. And they want to stop burning, incinerating what is not compostable or recyclable. So what we understand is that if you invest in good product design, so everything is designed to be recycled or composted, then there's no need to use any incineration. And in any case, if you don't have landfills in 2030, you don't have incinerators, because if you burn something, you get ashes that need to go to the landfill. So it's clear that the European policy is to recover materials. Europe is the poorest continent in the world when it comes to resources. We don't have resources, and our competitivity and our sustainability in the future depends on how well we manage to close the loop of resources. And this is not an NGO agenda, this is the agenda of the European Union today. So 20 years ago, we were maybe fighting each other, but now we go hand in hand. We agree that we don't have resources, we have to recover what we have in Europe. Material recovery, recycling is the way forward. Reuse products instead of recycling and prevent them. And burning and landfilling doesn't have a place in the future of European policy. And that is what is being, that is more or less a tendency in Europe. Of course, there are some countries that are locked into big investments, incinerators like in Germany or Sweden, and they're going to be there for the next 10, 20 years. What is important is that countries like Romania that are free to move quickly towards zero waste, they do this step.
Okay. One of the last questions, what about industry and built-in obsolescence in products?
That's very interesting. The built-in obsolescence is something that Europe is taking seriously as well. There was a resolution by the Committee of Regions banning planned obsolescence. Of course, they don't have legislative power, but it shows a political intention. We're working a lot with universities, with the Cradle to Cradle Institute as well, really to phase out planned obsolescence. Planned obsolescence made economic sense if it ever made sense in the past, but not today because, as I said, we are in a resource scarcity crisis when we have to create more employment. And there's more and more companies, also big companies, that are moving into reusing materials, into reusing products, into redesigning products so that they can be easily recycled. So I think that we are seeing less planned obsolescence, and we're going to be seeing less and less in the future. And the competitivity of Europe's industry in the future, it lies very much on being able to innovate in this field, because Asians are producing very cheap products with planned obsolescence. But the future of Europe's competitivity is really on going for this new market of good materials, durable, recyclable, leasing strategies, etc. So it's true that planned obsolescence has been there for the last decades. I think that we are getting out of it, or at least the European policies start to go this way.
If there is anything that you would like to add that I haven't asked you, or if you have a message to the world, then please say it.
Message to the world. The message to the world would be that we have to choose. We are in times where sustainability is at hand. We have the most educated generation in the human history. At the same time, we are in the most difficult situation in the history of humankind. We have the possibility to destroy ourselves, but we also have the possibility in our hands, thanks to our knowledge, and thanks to the practices, and thanks to the citizen engagement, to really get out of this with a better society. And zero waste is a way to unite people and to make them work together to make a sustainable future. So zero waste is one of the pieces of the puzzle that is going to open the doors to a future that is sustainable and where we can live. So I would encourage Romania really to adopt zero waste strategies and work with us together with the other countries in Europe in this direction.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.